Hello everyone, Miguel here from Unique Web Designer, and in this video we are going to discuss the one thing that you should never ever buy from your web design company. And it's unfortunate that there are a lot of web design companies out there trying to sell you this as a service, as an add-on, as something that you have to buy from them, because you don't. And just so that I don't get too far down the video without telling you what it is your domain. Your domain, your URL, you should never ever buy that from your web design company, and I will explain why now. So just in case you don't know what a domain is, the domain is basically like, let's say if we were to go to amazon.com, we have to type in amazon.com. So Amazon is the name of the business, but amazon.com is the domain. So in other words, Amazon registered amazon.com so that they could own that URL. And what happens is that if you buy the URL from your web design company, in other words, like if you came to me and you said, hey Miguel, I want a website, and then I tell you, oh okay, well you need a domain so that people can find you, yada yada, and you say, okay, well how much is it? And then I sell that to you. What happens is that I'm the one registering that URL. So I'm registering the URL to me. You don't own it. You may think that you own it because you paid me, but I own it. There's a governing body, it's called ICANN, and they're basically the ones that deal with everything that has to do with domains, the domain registrations. And there are companies that are certified to be able to sell domains, and those companies are called they're registrars. So basically, like let's say GoDaddy is a registrar, Namecheap, SiteGround, Bluehost. So there's a lot of companies that are registered in order to be able to sell you a URL or a domain. Your web design company is not a registered company that can sell you a URL. They're basically reselling it to you. They're buying it from somebody and then they're reselling it to you. Sometimes they'll sell it to you at a higher price. Sometimes they'll just pass on the exact price to you. Sometimes they'll charge you a monthly fee or whatnot. But basically, the reason why you never want to buy the domain from your web design company is because whoever registers the domain owns the domain. So in other words, let's say Unique Web Designer, if it was owned by someone else, and here I am, I spent 5-10 years working on this website. My business has grown exponentially, and now I have a lot of traffic. I have people contacting me, they're going to the website. I'm very happy, and boom, the web design company that I paid for this went belly up. So they didn't renew the subscription. What happens? I'm screwed. Why? Because I don't own the domain. The web design company does. So in other words, if you don't register your own domain, whoever registered it is the owner of that domain. Yes, you may own the business, you may think that you own the domain, but you don't. Whoever registered it is the owner of the domain. So in other words, if you want to sell your business, you literally have to ask for permission so that you can sell the website. Why? Because you don't own the domain. And a lot of times, depending on how busy and how much revenue your website is creating for your business, that may be one of the most important things that you own as part of your business. So if you don't actually own the domain, nobody's going to buy your business, or they're going to ask, hey, I want a discount or whatnot. So just make sure that you own the domain. And another problem is that, so whenever you register a domain, you can register it for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. I believe the most is 10 years or 5 years, something like that. So what happens is that when your time is up, so at the end of the year, your time is up, and the registrar will give you some time where you still have dibs. In other words, you can still purchase that renewal, and no one else can touch it for like a month or two. Now, if that month or two goes by and you don't renew, then your domain becomes available to everybody. And at that point, there are companies and people that basically make a living doing this. And what they do is they find domains that expire, that businesses forget to renew, and they purchase it. So they may purchase it for 10, 15 bucks. And then they go out there and say, hey, this domain is worth a lot of money, and they resell it. So at that point, since you don't own the domain, you have to pay whatever it is that somebody is asking. And if there's a bidding war going on, then you have to become part of that bidding war. And for the simple fact that you did not register the domain yourself. And I'm going to show you how to do it yourself. That way, if you decide that you want to create a website, you can just go to this website and create your own domain. And the one that I use is Namecheap. And just so you guys know, like, I'm not affiliated with Namecheap or anything. I don't make any money off of this or anything. I have no affiliations with this company whatsoever. The only affiliations that I have with them is that I've used them for at least 10 years now. They've never failed me. I've never had a problem with them. So I tell every client that asks me, where should I register my domain, to come here. So what you would do is you come to namecheap.com and then you type in whatever domain you want. So let's say you wanted miguelcairo.com, which is my name. So you type enter, and then it's going to tell you whether that domain is available or if somebody has already purchased it. So in this case, it says it was taken. So somebody bought my name. And down here, it gives you some suggestions as to some available URLs that go along with what you typed in. So in this case, miguelcairo.org is available for $748 a year. miguelcairo.bot is available for $64.98 a year, and so on. So let's say, normally what I tell people is if your domain is not available, unless you're like a startup that has a bunch of money or whatnot, that you can try to purchase the exact domain that you're looking for, then just try some variations. So like, let's say Miguel Cairo 2024, just for instance. And so this one, it tells me it's available. So as you can see, this is the amount. So 1028 per year, and that's it. I would add it to cart, I will buy it, and I own it. What happens is, when you buy the domain, you will register it, and it's going to send you some information so that it can be registered with ICANN. And that's like the governing body for domain registrations, registrars, and so on. And what you'll see, like, if you go to Whois, it's going to show you basically the information for that domain. So in this case, I already did a search for my domain, uniquewebdesigner.com. And right here, as you'll see, it says this is the domain. This is the registrar. So as you can see, Namecheap, that's where I have my domain. They're the ones that I paid. It was registered on 2020, and it expires on 2026. And it says it was updated 2023, so it was updated last year. So we did a renewal for 3 years last year. And right here is just like the name servers. This is basically where the domain is pointing to. And then the registrar contact, this information, normally it will be your information. So if you were basically, I pay Namecheap, it's like an extra $2 or $3 a year, so that my information does not show publicly. So in other words, this information is from Namecheap. And the reason why I do that is because if your information was to show when you register your domain, you could get a bunch of, like telemarketers or just people calling you, trying to buy the domain, trying to sell you things, trying to do a bunch of stuff. So I avoid that. I pay the $2 a year, and then I don't have to worry about my information being out there in public as the owner of uniquewebdesigner.com. Obviously, if somebody goes to my website, they can see that I'm the one that owns it. But if they're just doing like, like a simple scan, they're not going to be able to find it. So keep this in mind. Buy the domain that you are going to use yourself. Never buy it from a web design company. And if you already bought it from your web design company, do not worry about it. Just contact them, tell them, hey, I want you to transfer the domain to me so that I can do my own renewals and I can own my domain, and you should be good to go. The problem is that if they say no, we're the ones that own it, you're gonna have to get lawyers involved, you're gonna waste a lot of time, you're gonna have to waste a lot of money just because you didn't register your own domain. So always, regardless of what anybody tells you, make sure that if you're creating a new website, you register your own domain. No questions asked, register your own domain. Don't believe anybody that tells you otherwise. So I hope this video was useful to you, and if it was, please share it with anybody that you think could find something useful as well. Like the video and subscribe to the channel so that whenever I create more videos like this, you get a notification. And as always, until next time, Unique is out.